So lately, I've had a really bad relationship with Amazon MGM Studios. The last couple of films that they've released have been some of the most generic and lifeless action films I've seen in years. And I'm mainly talking about the Prime Video stuff, not the theatrical stuff. That stuff is at least decent. So going into The Wrecking Crew, I was thinking that I was going to get more of the same, where you have some established B to A-list actors and another throwaway action film with tons of CGI and a story that not even ChatGPT would come up with. And I really gotta stop making fun of AI, because once they eventually take over the world, they're gonna see this video and they're gonna come after me. So I better just play nice with them, or I'm gonna end up like Will Smith in iRobot. But I did see that Angel Manuel Soto was attached to direct this film, and I really enjoyed his take on the Blue Beetle. Though I had some slight hopes that this wasn't going to be just another MGM Studio slop that they're going to put on streaming services on Amazon Prime, just so they can say that they have content. But to my surprise, The Wrecking Crew is actually a pretty decent and fun film. There are some choices in the film that prevent it from reaching that great status, but we'll get into that later. One of the best aspects of this film is the chemistry between everyone in the film. I mean everyone. I mean not just the lead actors in this film. We have the extras, the side characters. You could just really tell that everyone really enjoyed working on this project. They wanted to put their all into this. And I don't feel like anybody phoned it in either, which is good, because lately I've been watching a lot of the Asylum films, and man, you can tell the actors in there just want to leave. And speaking of lead actors, our main two leads in this film, Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa, put on what I think is probably one of their better performances. I mean, Dave Bautista continues to impress me every time I see him on screen. The guy can act, and I think, it might be a hot take, but I think that he is the best wrestler turned actor that we've gotten in the last 4 years. Yes, even better than The Rock. But the two of them have really great chemistry on screen. They do a really good convincing job of making us feel that these are two estranged brothers that have a really difficult and hard past that they have to deal with once they eventually come back together. They also do a really good job of shifting between the comedic tone of this movie to a more serious one. And speaking of comedy, there is a lot of it in this film. I mean, it's kind of like a buddy cop-esque type of film, so you're gonna get some laughs. And like I said in the beginning, MGM Studios usually has some pretty terrible films, so I wasn't expecting the comedy to land for me in this film. But this film actually has some scenes and some jokes in here that actually really landed with me. I found myself laughing a lot. Jason Momoa plays that typical jokester, slacker type of character, and then you have Dave Bautista is playing pretty much what I feel like he's been typecast as in since the Guardians of the Galaxy, him playing Drax, is that more serious, dry humor kind of character. And both of them play off of each other's characters really well. Like I said, the chemistry is seamless. And shout out to Jacob Batalon, who plays a kind of hacker spy named Pika. Yeah, I made you interested in watching this movie, didn't I? He has some of the most hilarious scenes in the film, especially this one scene having to do with a Jackie Chan reference. I might just watch it again just for that scene. The other things that this film does really well is the action sequences, specifically the fight scenes. I wasn't expecting to have scenes in this movie, a Prime original film, that are almost John Wick-esque in the type of framing and positioning with the camera and the cinematography that they're doing when they're performing these action scenes. But like I said, I have been watching a lot of bad movies lately, so maybe I'm just surprised that something is actually decent. And the fight scenes are actually pretty gory. I was actually surprised about that. It makes you feel like you're watching or playing a Mortal Kombat game or something like that, because the deaths in this film they're out there. Like I said, they're fatality worthy. I also really like how this film makes the island of Hawaii feel like. I've seen movies before where it is set in Hawaii, but this film, The Wrecking Crew, makes Hawaii feel like an actual like character. You get to like know the culture that is exclusively found in Hawaii. You get to know the taste, the smells, the environment, the sayings, the slang, and all that. And I thought that was really interesting. Maybe I haven't watched a lot of Hawaiian films or films that are set in Hawaii, because I just felt like I'm seeing this island for the first time. But one of the things that I do feel like really hinders this film from reaching that great status is the deliberately slow pacing of this film. The film has quite a few moments where there's an action scene and it gets you all pumped up, and then it cuts to the very slow scene where, you know, our characters are doing something serious or talking, having a serious discussion, or just trying to investigate things and look for clues. And I feel like, for me at least, it really slowed down the film. And for me, when I'm watching an action film, I want it to be a little bit fast and chaotic with the pacing. So if you're like me, who wants your action movies a little bit more fast and, you know, get to the point, like get back to the action kind of thing, this film might be a little bit slow for you in certain aspects. And, you know, I thought I was going to avoid this with this being an MGM film and all, and it having really bad CGI in all their films. Well, it happens again in this one. In particular with this car chase scene that is in the film, where it also has to involve a helicopter. And I understand that, you know, we're not going to spend all the money in the world to make this look good. And I get why they chose CGI in this scene in particular, but it just looks bad. It really took me out of the film, because everything else was really good. You know, you got some good stunt work, you know, you got some practical effects and everything, and the CGI and other parts of the film aren't as noticeable, but this, I could tell that's a CGI helicopter. In the end, the Wrecking Crew actually surprised me. I really loved the chemistry with everyone involved. The action scenes are really good, and I really love how they incorporated the island of Hawaii. There is some bad CGI and some pacing that slows things down a bit too much for my liking, but if you like a good old action film that has that little nostalgic flavor to it, I think that the Wrecking Crew is going to be something that you're going to have to add to your queue. So be sure to check out the Wrecking Crew. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you like me and watch these MGM Prime original movies and just dread it because the posters look cool, and then they get two actors that you actually like, and you're like, okay, this might be good. You know, I'm thinking the same thing with the next one that they're coming out with, that movie The Bluff with Priyanka Chopra. You know, it looks good, but I don't trust them. But thank you as always for checking out the channel. This is Straight to VOD, the #1 place you can get movie reviews for movies that no one else is talking about. Keep watching movies.